Welcome to the week recap show where we just dive in and we talk about some of the news that what's going on right now just to finish up the end of the week. I always feel like the weekends is a blues day. I don't know about you. I'm a huge blues guy. Are you a blues fan? Let me know in the comments below. Let's finish up. Let's see what's going on in the news right this second. 2 California teenagers who admitted beating their classmate to death in Moreno Valley Middle School in 2019 have been sentenced to probation and released to their parents. The victim was 13 years old. That's nuts. I always struggle with kids who do crimes, particularly if the crime is really harsh, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on kids doing crimes and as they grow up? Beating someone to death is not funny and it's unbelievable. And should they go to prison forever? I don't know. But I don't think they should be released already. 2019, 2 years, give me a break. Washington Post. Who reads this news? Who uses Washington Post as a source? I only know a couple of people, and I don't trust them I don't trust them for my news. So why would I trust them with Washington Post? Washington Post makes another correction. The initial headline, which I cannot stand the news media and their headlines. They're so misleading, and they just lie to you through the headlines. They just cut excerpts, and you never know the full story unless you actually read the article. Which, for some, that seems unbelievable. Initial headline: there's no migrant surge at the U.S. southern border. Here's the data. Upon looking at this right here, there's no migrant surge at the... Fail. Okay. There's no migrant surge. Oh, sorry, I just realized that you can't really see what's going on. You can't win them all, folks. There we go. There's no migrant surge at the United States southern border. Here's the data. If someone was to read that trusts this news organization, which a lot of people do, they would think, oh, look at this. Just another Republican talking point. Another conservative talking point. They're just lying to our faces. But then, oops, they changed and said the migrant surge at the U.S. southern border is actually a predictable pattern. And then say this post has been updated. But no one reads the updated post. And the people that are reading this are already on to the next news cycle. And that's the problem with the 24-hour news in general, is that when they actually do a correction, you've already forgot about the story. And they know that. And they don't care. The original, another text change. What we were seeing, in other words, isn't a surge or a crisis, but a predictable seasonal shift. That was the original. The new is... what we're seeing right now is a predictable season shift. When the numbers drop again in June and July, policymakers will be tempted to claim that their deterrence policy succeeded, but that will be just as a usual seasonal drop. So, essentially admitting that there is a surge and a crisis at the border. Wow. Now, this is a story I'm going to really get into, but I'll get into it later, is the whole Jim Crow 21st century thing. It must end. We have moral and constitutional obligation act, blah, blah, blah. This is the whole thing about that being Jim Crow, which is unbelievable. But this right here, this is what really irks me, is Pete Buttigieg. Okay? People love Pete Buttigieg. Liberals love him. And I can't believe that he wasn't liberals' choice for president. He's a better speaker than Biden. He's cleaner. He doesn't have family members running around stealing money from other governments. That's what I mean by cleaner. not looks cleaner. I don't care about that, but I'm just saying, like, he doesn't have a past, or he doesn't have like a lot of things to hide, at least that we know of yet. Conspiracy. Let the conspiracy begin. But this comment right here. Oh, this video right here on CNBC. Let's get into it.
Long-term answer.
What about a mileage-based tax?
So I think that shows a lot of promise. If we believe in that so-called user pays principle, the idea that part of how we pay for roads is you pay based on how much you drive, the gas tax used to be the obvious way to do it. It's not anymore. So a so-called vehicle miles traveled tax or mileage tax, whatever you want to call it, could be a way to do it. Long-term answer.
What about a...
Okay, who do you think gets hurt the most with the mileage tax? Is it the rich? Is it people with lots of money? Is it mega corporations? No. It's you and me and people paying at the pump, and particularly people that drive for a living. Could you imagine being a DoorDasher or Uber Eats or driving for Uber, and you're doing it, the 1099? You're like, you're paying taxes later, and you're an independent contractor, and you're not part of you're not a employee. Who do you think's paying for that tax? So you're driving all these miles for money, and you're trying to make money, and you're barely making more than minimum wage, and you're getting taxed on top of that. And not only that, the gas prices have gone up like crazy. The leftist liberals, the Democratic Party is not the party of the working class. It's just not. That's a lie, and they want you to believe that. But they don't. They love the establishment. They love big corporations. That's why they're in favor of lockdowns. They love the idea of mom and pop being squeezed. And then you have all these woke companies like Amazon, Microsoft, YouTube, Twitter. And they're encouraging this stuff because they do fine in the pandemic. That's why Bill Gates keeps coming out like, we are not going to go back to normal to 2022 because it's just not safe yet. And while mom and pop businesses are just crumbling, and people just bat an eye at that. And the more I watch this stuff, the more I listen, and the more I just understand that there's been a shift, and the Republican Party is the party of the working class, and it just is because that pipeline being stopped, gas prices rose like crazy out of nowhere, and all my liberal friends like, it's just part of the season. It's Christmas time. It has nothing to do. Of course, right. So being energy independent more so than ever before had nothing to do with the gas prices being so low, right? And then this is like a tax they've always wanted to do, anyways. Is that when they want to push their agenda on you with green energy. Yeah, everything sounds good about that in your head. You think, wow, green energy, we're doing good for the earth. This is all good. But you don't understand the implications that are going to happen to the poor and working class people. When you propose taxes like this, and not only that, when you propose taxes on corporations, when a corporation is taxed more, what do you think happens to the stuff you buy? It goes up in price because they have to pay more. So you are ultimately the one that fits the bill. People do not... So many of my liberal friends do not understand the concept of money, and they don't understand how if you tax somewhere, it has to come out from somewhere. And they think like the stimulus was just government giving you money. That is your money that is taxed from you, given back to you, because they know you don't make enough money anyways, and then you need help. So instead of getting more from your tax returns, you got less because you the stimmy. God. If people just eat this stuff up. Pete Buttigieg, this face right here, says a lot. You know it's going to hurt the small person and the working class, and you are totally okay with it in order to push your agenda onto people. I have no gripes about green energy. Don't care. Some of it's great, some of it's stupid. Elon Musk is a perfect example of saying, you know what, I believe in this green energy so much, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to create something. The private sector doing what the private sector does best, but instead, Democrats say, you know what, it's not going fast enough. We have to push it through, and the only way we're going to push it is that we're going to start taxing these people, and we'll figure out a new tax, and you won't even know it. And all these people that work close to home or don't drive for work or, are so rich and have a great job where they can just work from home. They do tech. They're like, yeah, right. Oh, great. Yeah, taxing per mileage, no big deal. But those of us that drive, I drive a lot for my work because I have to go all over the place, all over the city for stuff I have to do. And I will be heavily affected by this. This will make me poorer than I am now. But they don't care. They don't care. And then when I tell my liberal friends this, they go, oh, really? Huh. I guess, well, this is still a good thing because we're in this together. Just like the pandemic, right, guys? We're in this together. We can do this together. That story right there, really